Hi, my name's Jenny, and my goal is to make a feature film with AI in 30 days. And today is day 7. And yeah, just hello to everybody. Thank you for following my journey. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about a scene that I shot. I did put some of it on socials yesterday, but yeah, I'm going to play it now.
Mum,
Yes, love.
happy birthday.
Good night, love.
Where's my genie? I want to rub my little genie.
You'll be rubbing yourself for the next fortnight, I'll tell you that for nothing. Get to bed.
Gina! Gina!
If you think you're kipping in here, you've got another thing coming.
My teeth with a brand new tune. I pour my coffee, I take it slow. Then I start smiling, cause I know your name is waiting in the day, like sugar melting in my tray. A simple morning, plain and true, but every little thing points to you. I tie my tie, I comb my hair, I catch my face in the old mirror there, and just like that, my heart
You haven't got time to be mucking around, get ready.
Oh shit, it's not today, is it?
You'll travel with mother and I'll go with the kids.
Fine. As long as I don't have to look at the old get in the box, do I?
Surely it won't be open casket.
like you.
You know,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Oh, Jimbo, give your Aunt Jackie a smile at least.
Why?
You'll scare the girls with a face like that.
I'm so sorry for your loss, Dickie. Your father was a good man.
Was he? Come on then. Let's go and put the old bugger in the ground.
Okay, so obviously it's a rough cut. You know, there's still some things to sort out, sound, usual caveats apply. But yeah, I'm pleased with my progress. You know, I was doing quite slow, right? And I'd been operating about 2.5 minutes a day, which isn't enough to make the feature in 30 days. But I'm up to like almost 5 minutes a day now. I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about shooting workflow, right? So, you know, filmmakers will know that like on set, normally, not always, depends what the scene is, but you know, a lot of times what you'll do is you'll shoot the wide, get a wide master, and then come in for coverage. And basically I found that doing exactly that workflow is actually really useful for AI production. So I'm going to show you how basically initially I get a master that I'm pretty much happy with. So like a shot that in its own right could stand as like a scene all on its own. And I get that in the wide. And then I can show you a cheeky trick where you can basically really speed up your workflow, which I'm having to do a lot, by just telling the AI. At the moment, I'm using Seedance 2.0. And if you just tell Seedance to come in for coverage after you've got your wide, you really save yourself a lot of time. So I'm going to show you the wide.
Oh, Jimbo, give your Aunt Jackie a smile at least.
Why?
You'll scare the girls with a face like that.
Chip off the old block, eh? I'm so sorry for your loss, Dickie. Your father was a good man.
Was he?
Yeah, and as you can see, you know, that actually functions pretty well as a scene on its own. And I would have left it there, but I didn't want like all of my scenes to be like wide kind of theatrical shots, although some of them it really works, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But for this one, basically, I found a bit of a cheat code. I don't know if I came up with it or maybe just super smarter people than me already figured this out and I'm late to the party. But basically, if you reuse that prompt, so here's my prompt. And yeah, basically, if you reuse that prompt, but you tell Seedance to recreate this scene exactly and then insert and input the video that you've just made, the wide, recreate this scene exactly, keeping the dialogue and action exactly the same with no changes. The only change is I want the scene to be broken into medium close-ups on the characters who are speaking when they are speaking. And the output really saved me a lot of time because look, this is basically the same scene and it cuts together perfectly with all of the action.
Oh, Jimbo, give your Aunt Jackie a smile at least.
Why?
You'll scare the girls with a face like that.
Chip off the old block, eh? I'm so sorry for your loss, Dickie. Your father was a good man.
Was he?
And yeah, obviously it's not perfect. You know, I did notice in some scenes, I don't know if you spotted it, maybe some of you more pedantic people will have, but there's like a lady that's like a twin in the shot. So she's like, there's two of her in the background. And yeah, just, you know, sometimes it doesn't get it right. But if you pump out like 4 of those, maybe more, you know, you will get all of the coverage that you need across those 15-second coverage clips. And yeah, the result is that you can edit them together and they should cut together pretty seamlessly. Yeah, so that's how I've been sort of moving forward a bit more efficiently. And yeah, for scenes especially with a lot of characters, a lot of dialogue, like, yeah, you can really speed up your workflow that way. Another thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about was something I mentioned yesterday, which was, yeah, I got a lot of, favorable reviews, I guess, on the scene at the very start of the clip I showed you with the mother and the children and the baby. And the reason I think it's, you know, I'm always looking for like, how can you kind of be a little bit contrarian and like do the opposite of what a lot of people are doing. And in the AI space, I do find, and again, it's just taste, like it's just my taste and my taste is not better than anybody else's. It's just taste. Like, I think that, yeah, there's just a lot of people doing like a lot of action scenes and a lot of like goblin videos and stuff like that. And that's all cool. And I enjoy some of them too. But for me, I'm looking for like, okay, everybody already associates AI with that kind of scene. So how can I do the opposite of that? Or how can I do something that people aren't expecting? Because most of film, I think, is about subverting expectations. And so the more you can subvert expectations, every shot, every scene, every line, and ultimately, yeah, your film, the more that you will keep people interested and entertained because, yeah, otherwise people have just seen it all before. So for me, you know, a lot of the sort of, you know, action scenes and explosion scenes and stuff that's similar to sort of, I guess, like old school CGI and stuff, I think some of it's really good, don't get me wrong. But for me, like, I would like, my film is like slower paced. It's like, much quieter. And I think there's something to be said. And I had a lot of sort of positivity come back about that scene, just about stillness and silence. And yeah, I think if you really want to elevate your work, and this is just my opinion, I think like, yeah, like quieter films, you know, you can't be a purist, but purists say that like quieter films are generally better films because, not always, but because you're using visual storytelling, right? Like I've written scripts and, you know, like everybody, sometimes you have to use exposition, but like David Mamet says and people like that, they say, if your characters are explaining the story, you know, you've failed, right? So yeah, ideally, like the less exposition you have, the less dialogue you have, you know, generally, and the dialogue that you do have is character, not plot, right? So, like, yeah, the reason why people love Tarantino, for example, they always mention his dialogue, right? But most of Tarantino's dialogue is not about the plot, like I'd say 90% of it. And so it's all about character development, characters telling you like who they think they are, right? And yeah, I think like, yeah, if you're putting lots of exposition in, which sometimes I do have to do, like, you know, then that's what sort of, yeah, separates, I guess, like strong storytelling from not. And yeah, likewise, like the more kind of crazy movement, like look, every scene's different. So sometimes like fast, you know, I use like fast paced cutting and like, you know, like action and lots of movement where it's appropriate if you're trying to add a certain dynamic to what you're doing. But, you know, I think even like, you know, David Fincher and people like that, they kind of have a rule that like the camera doesn't move unless it's motivated by something. And I think that's a really good principle to apply. And so a lot of the scenes that I've been making sort of last couple of days, they look quite theatrical in a way. Like, as in, I've had people say, yeah, it's kind of almost like a stage play. And if you think of it like that, another tip I kind of wanted to give that really helped me, because I used to make a lot of documentaries and, you know, I've basically been a documentary maker as well as my commercials. And when I was writing feature scripts initially, like I really struggled to think like, how do I like shoot this on paper, right? And then it suddenly occurred to me and the penny dropped where like, if you just shoot it or like write it as though you're, and also shooting it on AI, if you just make it as though you're doing a documentary about the script, right? That's a really, really great way to keep things simple. If you just think, okay, my scene, this is what happens. How would I shoot this if it was a documentary? And a lot of times that will give you like really simple results. Yeah, so that's just some thoughts of mine. And again, feel free to disagree. It's salt to taste, right? The other thing that you can get from sort of framing with wides is you've got more opportunity to, I guess, come away from what gives away the AI the most, which is people and their faces. And if you kind of keep a little bit further back, like I know again with like David Fincher, like he very rarely comes in for close-ups. Like he'll stay on wides, mediums, and like he'll only come into a close-up maybe once per film, right? Once, maybe twice per film, like hardly ever. And so when he does come in for a close-up, that's a detail that's like extremely important. But yeah, like the sort of TV way of doing things where you're just like always on people's close-ups, like head and shoulders. A lot of that does give away AI because let's face it, like the people are the problem with AI, right? Like the environments generally do pretty well. And even things like lighting and stuff is all improving. The thing that really gives it away a lot of times is performance, acting, and the people, right? And so, yeah, if you kind of stay maybe a little bit further back out of like stay on wides and stuff, not only can you do more interesting things with blocking and find like more interesting thing, I think it's called like proxemics, right? Proxemics, how close characters are to each other, who's higher in the frame. You have the opportunity to really play with like power dynamics and like you can signal a lot to an audience in wides that you can't in a close-up. And obviously you're going to have to come in for close-ups and there's, you know, there's times when, you know, that's what I do. But yeah, there are different ways to tell stories. And I really encourage people to not only try the most efficient ones, which I'm trying to do, but also the ones that efficiently and effectively tell your story emotionally, right? Because you can be super efficient and not effective, and you can be really effective and completely inefficient. Right now I'm both, but I'm joking. Another thing that I mentioned, and I put that the clip of the little boy running back and shutting the door, I put that out on its own just this morning, because oh my god, like I love that. And it gave me an idea. You know, I've mentioned quite a lot about my love of the French New Wave. And that was just super French New Wave to me. And I think that we as like filmmakers and creative people and artists and whatever, we've got an amazing opportunity here. Yes, there are problems with AI and the technology and the output can be a little glitchy. But I think, you know, for example, I love that shot where they're like walking across the street, and like I pumped out a few of those. And I just really loved that one, and I didn't want to change it. And I noticed, oh, it's bum, you know, they've left the door open, and oh no, what am I going to do? And then I thought, well, maybe I can fix it. You know, like again, it's another actual filmmaker principle. When I've shot a lot of documentaries, right, like, you know, I was taught in film school, like shoot in camera, right? Or sorry, edit in camera, right? So yeah. And what would you do if that was a documentary? You'd be like, oh, can you just run back and shut the door? Or if we were on set losing light or something, I'd be like, yeah, can you just run back and shut the door? And I think that like that keeps that take usable, and it's a really cute little moment, I think. And you know, we've got, yes, a lot of AI glitches and stuff that really gives it away as a tell that it's AI. But maybe we don't have to constantly, I mean, some of them are really bad, like when people have like, you know, 17 fingers and stuff. But like when it's like just tiny little details that the AI is getting wrong and you love everything else about the shot or the scene, I'm occasionally inclined to keep it and like literally like kind of have a wink with the audience that's like self-aware, right? Like very new wave, like in new wave films, for those who don't know, some of you will, but you know, in like driving scenes where the driver like, you know, isn't paying attention to the road and stuff, like, you know, they'll like make a joke out of that. Or like when the shot is like behind people when they're driving, they'll like look back and look at the camera. Or like, you know, most of you will be aware of things like Fleabag, the TV show and stuff, where, you know, she's always doing these little, like, I don't know if they're monologues or soliloquies, but they're basically, she breaks the fourth wall and talks to the camera all the time. And that kind of thing, like people love, this sort of self-referential, I don't know if it's meta quite, but it's like self-aware filmmaking. And yeah, I think we've got the opportunity with AI to just do some, you know, really do some little things that are quite self-aware of the fact that it's AI, and sort of laugh about that with the audience. Yeah, so let me know any other things that you'd want me to talk about on these daily vlogs. I've got a list of things that, you know, I can share about, but let me know in the comments what you're most interested in, so that I can make sure I'm offering the most value. But yeah, thank you so much for following me. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, subscribe to my YouTube. It really helps me out. And I'll see you tomorrow.